Came back home to red dirt skies. Thought I'd find truth where tradition lies. But the wind's here, they're twisting teeth, shifting the Oklahoma breeze. We're securing the blessings of liberty under wide open plains in old oak trees. Talking about life, talking about change in a state that's both wild and strange. Shooting the Oklahoma breeze. Barbecue smoke.
Hi guys, it's Shannon. I'm sitting out on my back porch enjoying the nice cloudy weather after the rain. Cool down. I'm actually a rainy, cloudy day girl to begin with. Maybe my happy side needs a balance, so I don't mind gloomy days. This morning I got to drive through fog and it was beautiful. Anyways, I am putting this episode together, so this is not how this was supposed to start our podcast. The plan was for our first one to be Ryan and I, but I had gone to the Capitol last Thursday and had watched a committee meeting unfold, and in a attempt to help encourage people to be aware of what's going on at the Capitol, Ryan suggested that I just do a solo video by myself. And I'm gonna be honest, there's an internal struggle going on because I kind of like my seclusion. I kind of like not being known, being hidden. And I'm like, are we sure we're ready to do this, Lord? And he's like, yeah. And I've trained you for like 20 years now. I'm like, surely you need like 20 more, right? I'm a slow learner, maybe. Maybe I need more practice. But I don't think that's going to happen. And so it's a little unsettling for me because I'm not used to being in front of a camera. My awkwardness comes out. I make funny faces. I don't make so don't show me a little grace. I probably won't look at the camera. I'm going to make it a point to purposely look at the camera. My eyes tend to wander when I talk to begin with, and then I repeat phrases, so I'm going to try to be aware of that and try to really not do that. But it's going to be hard. Anyways, I am trying to make an attempt to show up to the Capitol this session. It's something I did in DC. I walked around and I prayed and I worshiped, and it was very good for me. Like I managed to go through COVID and BLM without really feeling the yuck of DC and the heaviness that people say they feel. I didn't feel any of that. It was actually, that's probably, I have some awesome experiences, like God moments in DC, and I love that that's kind of my foundation for when I got here. And so I just knew that the Lord was like, we had no intentions of getting involved politically. God had plans. I was just going to enjoy my nice little piece of land in peace and quiet, and that's not how this is kind of gone for me. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go walk around and I'll pray. So that's what I try to do, because I know for me, worship is the quickest way that I can usher in God's peace. So when I'm anxious, like now, this is why I have an earbud in my ear. It mellows me out and kind of takes off the anxiety that this whole process is, I know, going to bring me. But I trust that he has a plan, and so I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to roll. So I have made an attempt to go to the Capitol to worship and pray, but I feel like I didn't do it. Maybe I didn't take it as seriously last session. And I showed up here, there, but it wasn't as often as I think it should have been. So this session, I've been really purposeful to try to be there at least 2 or 3 times a week. And on top of that, the Lord's like, hey, go sit in more committee meetings. Go sit in the gallery more often and go do this. Just go watch and listen and see how this building is functioning. Because there's some things going on in it that most everyday average Oklahoma voters don't get to see. So I've done that. I've sat in a lot of committees and meetings and the gallery. I mean, I miss a lot. A lot of times they have them like multiple committee meetings at the same time, so I can't be in all of them. But I have seen enough. I have sat through many that the process in which our laws are voted on is kind of concerning to me. So the other day when I showed up, they had the committee meetings at a certain time, but they also were having floor votes. So they're, I believe, required to be on the floor if there's stuff to vote on. So the meeting I showed up to, Energy Committee meeting, was on hold until that was done. So I went and I sat in the House gallery for a little bit, but I had an earbud in my ear and I was listening to what was happening on the Senate floor, because a lot of times the Senate will release and the House will go a lot longer. So I wanted to make sure that I made it out of the gallery in time to get into the committee room, because a lot of times it fills up. So I was listening just to make sure, and I could hear the debate, and there was a lot of questioning, a lot of debating and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's good. That's the process. That's how this is supposed to work. You know, I would hope that they're, you know, deciding what's beneficial for their voters at home. Now, I will say there's a difference between questioning and debating and then absolutely destroying and grilling. I've seen that take place too, and it's not fun. It's not good. So there's a difference between the two. But in this case, it was just, they were irritated that it was taking so long. I don't know, maybe they were hoping to get these bills on the Senate floor, voted on, out the door. It's Thursday. I've got to be out of here by a certain time. I don't know. They were frustrated. I could tell by the questioning that was coming out in the debates. So the House dismisses earlier. So I went by the room, still no meeting, went to the gallery in the Senate, and I sat there and listened to them until they dismissed. Well, the committee I was going to wasn't going to start till later, because a lot of the people presenting nominations and bills had other commitments in other meetings, like chair, committee meeting leader, or committee members. So they basically said it's going to take a while. So I went downstairs to get a bite to eat real quick, and I put an earbud in just in case they did start. Well, they must have started earlier than they expected, because I missed some of the data bills that I was actually kind of really hoping to hear. I need to go back and listen to that to see how they were voted on and stuff. So I hurried up, got back up there, and they were slow at getting stuff accomplished in this meeting because people were busy in other places at the Capitol, which is fine. I mean, you've got commitments, and that happens. They come in, they come out, they leave, they present, they go, you know. I understand that whole process. But the attitude and the casualness of voting on stuff by sitting committee members was actually highly disturbing. They were irritated and frustrated that they were there longer than they probably wanted to be there, and they were waiting on people that in their mind you could have gotten somebody else to come down and present this. You're inconveniencing me. I'm ready to get out of here. And I know it was about 3 o'clock or getting close to 3 o'clock on a Thursday, because I had already texted Ryan and said, hey, I'm still at the Capitol. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. You're welcome to join me if you want. And he'll usually kind of swing into the Capitol if he doesn't have anything else he's got to get back here for. So I'd already been in contact with him. So, man, these people are frustrated that they're here still. But they're working for you. Do your job. And so you had some of them coming and going. One of them that left was Senator Murdoch. And he left, gone for a while. You've got Senator Kristen Thompson throwing a fit on one end of the room, grilling another senator about him leaving. Don't know why he had to leave, but he had to leave. And she's grilling him, maybe jokingly, but still, she's extremely frustrated that she's still there. So Murdoch finally comes back in, and he comes back in with the people that they've been waiting on to make some nominations. Now, when these people sit down at the table to present these nominations, the nominee is not even there anymore. They've gone home. They've left. They're so late getting into this meeting. And so they can't get, basically they can't even get out what it is they're going to say before a do pass and a second was happening. Now, I'm sure these people are great people. Maybe. My problem is that the House and the Senate, the leadership in the Capitol, have decided that we need committees because we need to weed out bills. We can't let all 100,000, however many bills there are, we can't possibly let them all through. So we got to select which ones we allow in. And I'm going to assume, I don't know, but most voters, I don't go in and read all the nominees. I don't go in and read all the bills. That's a lot of work. Ask a representative that has to read bills for their meeting, their committee meeting that they're assigned to or whatever. It's a lot. It's a lot to do. And I know most voters don't have the desire to do that or the time to do that. And so our one opportunity to hear these bills, see these nominees, is in the committee meeting that they have designed. This is the process they picked out that they feel is best for us. So how beneficial is it for you? How beneficial is it for me or anybody else in the state if they're in such a hurry to get something passed and get out of there because it's time for me to go home? I don't know. I got something better to do, I guess, than be at the Capitol. That's your job. That's what you door knock for. You door knock and beg and ask and plead for somebody to vote for you because you tell them you're going to be their voice and their vote when it counts. So, well, it counts right now. In this meeting, this is when it counts. And you're in such a hurry to get out of the door. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching all of this play out. Now, I will tell you that if you were watching the live, you neither probably saw much of that, nor did you hear much of that, because I know, having watched it, being in there, and then watching some online, because I can't get there at that day, the mics are muted. And the camera is, a lot of times, really only centered on the person speaking, presenting, or voting, or whatever. So you don't see a whole lot of the action that goes on. Every once in a while, they'll pan away. It'll be like the whole room. But most times, as the meeting is happening, it's strictly on the person doing the speaking. And then when they're done speaking, the mics are muting. So you're not hearing any of the chatter going on in the room unless you're sitting in the room. That's where all the real stuff was actually kind of happening, was what a live will not give you, will not show you, will not let you listen to. And to me, that was the disturbing part, was all this stuff was taking place, and I know that nobody outside of that room knew exactly what was happening. So I experienced that meeting, and I felt like the Lord may have paused it on purpose, because I had gone to a legislative breakfast the following day. And you get the typical vote for me stump speech. That's how they do it at ours. They just kind of, okay, give us why we should vote for you kind of thing. And so every once in a while they'll throw in something new. But you typically get the normal, I've done this, I've done that, whatever. So when it came to my senator, Senator Grant Green, he mentioned that the reason he ran was because he had gone to the Capitol and sat in a committee meeting. Now he builds up to this, saying that, people had asked him for years. He had experience on being on the school board for years, and that people were trying to encourage him. He was telling them no. He was just enjoying cow raising and ranch life. He had the perfect life, is what he said. But it changed the day he went and showed up to a committee meeting. He shared that after that, he called his wife and said, "We're going to do this." So he is the chair of the energy committee meeting that I just sat through the day before. So when he said that, I was a little interested to hear more of what he had to say, because I just watched your committee meeting unfold, and it was quite disturbing. I mean, if I would have been in that type of a meeting, he doesn't say what he saw in the meeting. He doesn't say what he heard in the meeting that was like, wow, I really need to step in and do something about this, because he doesn't explain. He doesn't give any details of what happened in that committee meeting. He just said that that's what decided it for him. I don't know if I sat in a committee meeting like the one he ran the day before. Maybe I would have thrown my name in the hat too. No plans to do that. Lord, please no. I will champion you on if that is you, because that takes some courage to be willing to step out. But he did. That's what he said happened. So, but I was kind of disturbed after sitting through his committee meeting, seeing what was happening and transpiring, but nobody else got to hear it. Nobody else got to see it. You had to be sitting in the room to get all that information. He doesn't allow you to film in his committee meetings. And I'm going to be honest, I probably would have recorded some of what was going on so that I could have proof that what I'm telling you is not the way the system is designed to work. You shouldn't be rushing through bills because you're in a hurry to get out of that building. You take taxpayer money to do the job of voting on their behalf. And so I feel like you should be a little more dedicated than what you were showing us in that room that day. They're lucky I couldn't film them, because it would not have been a good look at all. That being said, I had recorded this. I had uploaded it and then I deleted it because it was really too uncut for me. So I was like, I think I'm going to do that over again. But you know what? I'm kind of glad I did, because I went to the Capitol yesterday and the same thing happened. They took longer on the Senate floor. And so they were late getting into their committee meetings. Again, they had other members that were in other positions in other committees meetings. And so the business and insurance one, I had to wait on. So I waited for a little bit. And then after, I think it was a veterans one was before that. After that one was done, I went and sat in it, and they had to wait for people. Like, That's just how this goes. So they had a lot of nominees before they actually got to the bills. But they were still waiting on people throughout the whole thing. You know what I didn't see? I didn't see anybody leaving the room and demanding and going and finding the people that they were demanding get here to present whatever. I saw none of that. Nobody. Yeah, they did leave, but there was none of that. There was no whining and complaining that they were ready to get out of there. Everybody knew, like, this is a process. This is how this goes. Sometimes you got to wait. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes the people are here to present. Sometimes not. But I didn't see any of that. It's a complete opposite of what I had seen the previous Thursday in Mr. Grant Green's Energy Committee. This is how this process is supposed to work. You just wait it out. You listen to stuff. Not what they were doing last week when they were complaining and trying to rush through things because I got to get out of here. That's not beneficial to you, and that's not beneficial to me at all. And those are the things that happen at the Capitol that I am 100% guaranteed they do not want you to see and know about. And part of the reason why I'm doing this was because this morning, man, it was deep. It's been the last couple of days, been just deep conviction about finally just finding my voice and just encouraging people to pay attention. Pay attention. We can't expect good results at the Capitol if all we do is allow somebody to come door knock, send you a flyer, you give them a donation, you click the box on election day, and then you check out. That's not beneficial to you because there's a whole lot more that goes on that you and I don't know about unless we actually take the time to go and watch the process play out. And I will tell you that it is not fun. If you go out and help get somebody elected that the establishment is not a fan of, I can tell you with certainty that your battle has only just begun. And it's not fun to watch. I've watched my representative get grilled relentlessly, and it is disgusting. What? Just because they don't like him? I don't know. Maybe they're mad at Lincoln County. Get over it. You know what? You tell me if I don't like my representative to go get a new one, and so I got a new one. That's how that works, right? So we did the hard work because that's what you're told as a voter. Don't like them, go get a new one. So we did it. We door knocked a lot. I door knocked a lot. Put out a lot of signs. Did a lot of the dirty work that most people won't do. Because I believed that the system in Oklahoma City at the Capitol was functioning the way that it was supposed to. That's not what I found. I have found they want to keep true conservatives quiet. They don't want you picking up the microphone. They don't want you to be vocal. They want you to sit down, behave, be a good little boy or girl. And you know what? When your time has come, we'll tell you when you can do something. Until then, you just need to sit and watch and behave. I don't do that very well. If you're speaking on behalf of me, I don't know. Pick up the microphone. Keep talking. I don't care. I helped get you there so that you can combat that system that is not working. It's not working for you. It's not working for me. And I know there are a lot more candidates who don't like that game either. And I will champion you on. It takes courage. It takes boldness to be able to do what you're going to do. I appreciate the sacrifice you're getting ready to make for your county, for your voters. Praying you through. I hope and I pray that we get more solid conservatives in there because the ones that are in there now, they do need help. The only way we change that system is if we, do a purge like they did in 2018. Only, you know what? I'm praying that the swing goes the opposite direction, that we begin to get really good, solid conservatives in there who aren't going to play the typical political game, because what benefit has that gotten anybody? How have we won playing the political games? I don't do political games. I think they're goofy. Nobody wins in the end when we're just playing those types of games, playing by the system. The system is broken here in Oklahoma City, and we need a realignment, and we need it quick. Because if we don't, the ones that you do have in there right now are not ever going to be successful at moving this state in the direction that it needs to be moved into. And it's not a socialist, crazy Marxist agenda. That is the last thing. That is the last thing we want in this state. It's supposed to be a deep red state, but it's not functioning that way. And so this is what Ryan and I in this podcast, this is what we are trying to accomplish. We're trying to encourage people to be engaged. Yes, voting matters. Get out, vote. But after that, you need to make sure that you're paying attention to what is going on at the Capitol, especially if you pick a solid conservative like a Representative Jim Shaw. Your battle is going to be a little harder than somebody who will play by the good old boy system. I wish I could say it's not, but it is. And so I would encourage you that, one, you need to go up and watch watch what they're doing, but you also need to go up and just be there to be an encouragement to yours, because they're going to need it. They're really up against a system that does not like when, I don't know, like a Lincoln County throws a wrench in the system. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being the holdout. I know that we can bring a change there, but it's going to take people staying engaged. And so that's our prayer. That's our hope, is that we can get enough people to stay the course even after an election. Make sure you're keeping your representatives on task, keeping them encouraged in your prayers, and make sure that they're doing what they promised to do when they knocked on your door, because that's what matters. So thank you for hanging out with me today. I don't think this will always just be me. Maybe it'll be Ryan by himself. The goal is to get us both together. We're still working on our space. We've kind of taken on a few other projects at the same time as trying to start this. Probably not a good idea. But I feel like it's important to encourage people that your vote matters, but also what matters is after the election. Are the laws that the Capitol is intent on passing, are they helpful or hurtful for you? So I would encourage you to keep up with what's going on. Maybe you can't go to the Capitol like I have been able to do, but I would encourage you to watch a live more often than you probably would. It's not fun, but it matters. That's how you figure out what's going on, and that's what we need. We need people who are paying attention to what the leadership in the Capitol building is doing, and they need to know that we're watching. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Thank you for hanging out with me. Have a good day.